Yarn balls floating by an open fire. Yarn smells wafting up your nose. Fibre carols being sung by a choir, and folks dressed up in yarny clothes. Everybody knows some yarn and some mistletoe will kick your knitting off just right. Though it's not been said anytime, anywhere, YARNY Christmas to you.
Welcome back. You did it. You came back. Or maybe you're here for the first time, in which case, welcome. Welcome to Frankenfrog Fibre podcast. I almost couldn't say that. It was getting a little tongue twisty there for me. I'm just drinking out of my newest gift from a colleague at work. Thanks, Trish, for the mug. I'm not quite sure what it says because, as we all know, I am innocent as the freshly fallen snow and have never read these words before that appear on this cup. But, you know, I'm gonna keep drinking out of it. You know, I think it has something to do with repelling people who want to bother you when you're knitting. And it doesn't seem to work on my 2-year-old, so it's time to help. Actually, I have been getting a fair bit of knitting in because I'm on vacation now. Well, like, staycation. We're all on a staycation, are we not? Yes, we are. So if you like this podcast, I have to say this every time. If you like this podcast, you should do YouTube things like the podcast, subscribe to the podcast, and you can also touch the bell, which gives you notifications when I upload a new video. Yay! And today is a really, really special episode because I have an interview with an extremely talented bigwig in the world of knitting in Toronto, knitting and crochet in Toronto. So this week I interviewed Claudia Q of Eweknit. And if you know, you know. Claudia Q is an extremely special knitting designer, a great store curator as well. If you've ever been to Eweknit Toronto, you know it is a spectacular knitting and crochet and embroidery and fabric store. It's a one-stop shop for all your crafting needs. So that interview is a part of this episode and I'm super excited about it. We'll do that a little later. What's new? What's new with me? I'll tell you all about it. So at my school this year, it's so funny because I didn't start this, but a student started it, and then I was super happy that she started it. We have a knitting and crochet club at my school now, and a lot of them are actually crocheters in the group, but I've taught about, I want to say like 6 or 7 students to knit so far. So it's pretty exciting, and it's called the Knits and Knots Club, and a wonderful student named Abby started it. She's in grade 10 visual arts at my school, and yeah, it's super fun. We meet every Thursday at lunch, and we have to keep our masks on and shove food under and have all the windows open and be as safe as possible, and it's quite small too. But it's been really kind of a nice little break on our 45-minute lunch. I don't usually eat that day because I'm helping a lot of kids with their crocheting or knitting, but it's been super fun for me, super rewarding seeing all these beautiful children learning to knit. I'm getting the booster shot today. Well, I'm gonna go wait in line for the booster shot. And then Evelyn also turned 8. So my daughter is Evelyn, and she's been in a few of these episodes, and she turned 8. And so we did what everybody else is doing right now. We didn't have a party, but we got her a special cake. I'll throw a little picture of the cake that she chose up here. She's a little spooky, and that's the way we like her. And I also made her some socks, and I'll show you those a little later on. But I made those for her birthday. And she is definitely knit worthy. She always appreciates the things that I make her, wears them tons, so that makes it really rewarding. As you know, if you're a parent that knits things for your children, if they don't wear them, then that kind of stops that. You're like, okay, you're done. You're done. You don't get anything else. So let's start with some FOs. I did finish something. I did. Oh yeah, I finished the socks for my daughter. And the funny thing is that right now I can only find one of the socks. Because, you know, children, I think she takes socks off and she just like flings them across the place. And I found this one rolled up into a ball in the fruit bowl on our table in the kitchen. And I don't know where the other one is, but I'm gonna throw up some pictures for you because I gave them to her on her birthday and she was super, super excited about them. Now, these socks I knitted on a 2.25 and I knit them 2 at a time. And the main color is a blue brick sock yarn. I'll put all the information in the description as well. So this sock yarn went through the entire rainbow in one ball. So this sock is kind of red, orange, and yellow, and the other sock is, I think it just goes through kind of green and aqua and blue. I think that's what the other sock did. You'll see in the pictures. But I did something so dumb on these socks. Well, I did them 2 at a time. That wasn't the dumb thing. That was a great idea. I love doing socks 2 at a time. And these were toe up as well. Speaking of which, I learned a new cast on, the Turkish cast on, and I found it really easy. I couldn't believe how easy it was. It was even easier than Judy's cast on. Oh, I will find that and link it below. But, you know, there's the other one where it's figure 8s wrapping around. So this cast on, the Turkish toe cast on, was really, really interesting. And once I figured out how to do it on the 2 socks, it is much easier than Judy's magic cast on. I think that's what it's called. And yeah, so back to the dumb thing I did. So there are directions in the pattern that say, so you can see that it's striped basically with these slipped sections. Every time you're doing the colorful row, you're slipping the darker yarn. And the instructions for the heel, they said put a lifeline in where you're gonna put your needle back in afterwards. Cool, cool, cool. Didn't do that. I was like, don't need a lifeline. And then it said, yeah, knit the stitches across. No, yeah, knit. Wow, I'll get there. Yes, knit the stitches with waste yarn, slide them back, knit them again with the main yarn. Okay. I was like, what? I don't need to do that. You just like cut into the sock and make a heel. That's what I always do when I do afterthought heels. No. I'm gonna show you the carnage that occurred when I tried to cut into my blue sock to make this heel. So because you're slipping, you know, you're slipping the dark stitches, you absolutely have to knit across waste yarn. If you don't, oh my goodness, I had to do some extreme surgery on the sock. It was very embarrassing because it happened on knit night when I was knitting on Zoom with my friends, and then I had to show them this like sock that was just in absolute tatters. And I eventually picked back enough rows so that it was stable, and then put the sock in, or put the heel in, sorry. And then when the other one came around, I knew how many rows I had to pull back or rip out. Basically, I had to cut more than 1 row for it to work. My advice is follow the pattern directions. So these socks are the Curio Socks. I probably already have put up that label by now, by Andrea Mowry, and I cast another pair on right away as soon as I finished those. But they're awesome. I really love them. I might make at least 10 pairs of them because I love the pattern so much. It was really fun. Next, life is better at the campsite, and I only have a photo of these, which I'll show right now. Life is Better at the Campsite by Grey Owl Knits. This pattern is ridiculously fun, and I talked a little bit about it last time, so I won't go on and on about it, but basically making sure your floats are loose is paramount. Super, super important. And I think I did a pretty good job of that, especially after they were blocked, which I don't have a picture of. The picture I'm showing is unblocked, but they were still in pretty good shape when they were unblocked, which I think is always a great sign when you're doing color work. If it already looks pretty flat when it's unblocked, then I think you're probably pretty safe for when it's blocked. And they blocked out really nicely. And then Evelyn gave them to her teacher, who is an amazing person and teacher, always teaching the kids life lessons as well as, you know, school lessons. And I got to hear him teach all last year because you know how we were online, so I'd be sitting there kind of with my class side by side with Evelyn and her with her class. So oh, so many parents judging these poor teachers last year. But he is amazing. So he got the mittens and he wore them for every single recess that day that he received them, and Evelyn was very, very happy and excited about that. So those are my FOs for this week, and as you know, I love giving things away. I don't know, it's just fun. And if I kept everything for myself, I would be covered in knitwear. And I already have lots, so I'm gonna give some more things probably. All right, let's go into my whips. My works in progress. Some of them are not exciting, so I'm gonna go quickly through them. Oh, wait, did I talk about? Oh yeah, the yarn I used for the Life is Better at the Campsite was a combination of red sock, blue sock in the colorway Eric, their sock yarn, as well as some Cascade yarn that I got at Spin Me a Yarn recently in a dark blue. So that's the yarn that I used for those. Okay, so let's get into this. Let's get into this monster first. This old chestnut. So I feel like this will haunt me forever. Every time I get started on it, I kind of get exhausted. Like, I know I've done more since I showed last time, but it's just a tough go. You really need to be watching something, I think, and I know that sounds wild because you're doing lots of cabling, but the cable is the same cable as it was all the way up the sleeves. The braids are the same as they were on the sleeves. So really I'm repeating things that I've already been doing. And if I get into watching something, then I can get I could get a good run of it going. But I was struck by people's comments when I set out to make this on the Ravelry pages. Most people were like, yeah, I made it. And I learned some things and I won't make it again. But it's coming. I have been working on it. I put a little bit of time into it, but you're gonna see I put a lot more time into other things. And that's how it goes. And the yarn I'm using for this is a Knit Picks yarn. They're worsted in the colorway Marble Heather. Wool of the Andes, that's the wool. That is. Next, in things that I've worked on a tiny bit, but I'm still gonna show, the Possibility of Crows cardigan. And so this is flat color work. Okay, I'm trying to show that I actually have 5 moons. There are 7 after I checked last time, yeah. So these are the 7 moon phases on the back, and this right here is the beginning of the crow skull. It's just the round part at the very top. And you can see it's got really cool eyelets all the way on both sides of the sleeve. It's a really, really cool design. by Disyarning or Harper Bee. And the yarn I'm using is Knitca. I think I mentioned this on the last episode, but I'll just say it anyway. It's Knitca in the colorways black and goldenrod, obviously. And yeah, working the color work flat is the adventure of my life. And look at this. That was not supposed to happen. But you know, I just decided to just keep going across that one row, and it's supposed to be intarsia. And yeah, so with the intarsia, you kind of have to wrap the yarn at the edge of each of these rows across so that it works. And I think I'm doing it. I did look up some YouTube videos to see how to, you know, catch my floats on the wrong side. I'm a big float catcher, which I think would surprise you because I like to do things quickly, but I'm really into catching floats. It floats my boat. Okay, I'm gonna be fired from YouTube. Just kidding, they can't do that. So yeah, I've been working on that as well. Not too much, but like a little bit. And next I have my new Curio Socks. This is like a parade. There's four things. I mean, there are more, but they're having a rest right now, the other things. So these are my new Curio Socks, also by Andrea Mowry, like the other Curio Socks I knitted, except for, like a genius, I followed the pattern this time. Someone should give me an award. Wow. Why am I so smart? So after facing a total disaster last time, I am following the pattern and it's awesome. And I'm loving this yarn, and this yarn was gifted to me. It arrived in the mail just before these holidays from my very good friend Kathy. Kathy, you're a queen. Thank you so much. And the yarn is by Ancient Arts. And ooh, no, wait, where are you going? And they are an amazing Canadian yarn company. And they do a lot with recycled yarn. And this is a sock yarn. And it is called, the colorway is Socknado. So it really is. It really is a Socknado. But I'm loving the little blips of color in these. And then look at how graphic they look even from far away. I just think these socks are bananas awesome. And I'm really excited for how, when I cut this waste yarn, I'm not gonna have an unraveling of the whole sock like last time. Yeah. All right, and maybe I'll show this yarn. This is the Socknado in the cake. It's got lots of really cool colors. The camera never works quite as well. Who likes my holiday nails? All right, and then lastly, in the whips and the works in progress, I am almost done this. I was actually sweating trying to get this done to show you I have dominated this sweater finally. Wait, okay. So, oh, it needs to be a bit closer. Let's do a little, yeah. All right, and you can see at the bottom, it's this little stripy situation again, just like up here. And I think I only have, I want to say like 4 rows to go of the stripes, and then I'm onto the ribbing. And you can see that the collar here is just a rolled collar, and there are some short rows on the back to, you know, make it sit properly on your back. This is Hello from My Colors by Jessie May. And I'm so excited. Look, this is the back. This is where the color work joins in the middle. And really from far away, you can barely tell. But if I hold it a bit closer, you can see the little divot going down the middle. And my plan for that is, I'm gonna show you the inside now of this. What? Okay, so my plan, delicious. It's like a salad of yarn. So my plan for that is to be really meticulous in the way that I sew the yarn ends in. And I think that that is really going to finish it in the most beautiful way possible. In the pattern, Jessie May says that she knows this is not best practices, but she just like kept them as long like floats and didn't cut any of the yarns all the way down. But I don't know. I was a little scared of how that would break up my, transitions between the sections, or how it, and kind of the yarn would kind of bleed into the next section a little bit because of the nature of knitting in the round. So I am going to be sewing in some ends, but you know what? I know I'm alone in this, but I don't mind sewing in ends. It's kind of like meditating. Yeah, so I plan to make some sleeves that are just above the elbow. And this sweater, I'll tell you about it. The yarn I'm using is de Rerum Natura, their Penelopé yarn, which is listed as a DK. And I had trouble getting gauge, but I finally did. I went down a few needle sizes, and I'll put the needle size that I used in the description so that you can know that if that's helpful. And even going down a few sizes, I still had to kind of knit tightly, which is very rare for color work, to really get gauge. But I did get it in the end. This is a size medium, and it's gonna block out just perfectly to the size that it needs to be. And it is for one of my very knit-worthy dear friends who, what are these things called? It fell off. But my friend and I go on a vacation, usually every year over March break. We've been going to Jamaica for the last many years. And, March 2020 happened, and then I haven't really seen her since then. I think I saw her once since then. So I'm excited to give this sweater and to maybe go on vacation this March break. We have it booked because it's the one from March 2020. But who knows? I mean, if we can't, we can't. I'm going to accept my fate if that's what is happening. Anything else I can say about this sweater? I would say that just be careful on parts of the sweater if you're gonna make it where it's the 1x1 stripes of color work, because this can pull in a lot. So I paid attention on those rows to be a little looser actually than I was for the rest of the sweater, and I think I saw some projects on Ravelry where it pulled in a bit at that point in the sweater. There's just something about that tends to pull in a bit. And so while you're doing your color work, it's great to always just kind of check in and be like, oh, does it already look like it's buckling too much? Or, I don't know, does it look like it's going to be too loose? Because then, I'm a stickler and I would pull back and start the section again if I thought it looked too loose. But maybe that's just me. But that's the hello from my colors, and I'm really excited about it. And I'm almost done. I can't wait to show it next time. All finished, yay. Okay, so I did get something new other than my beautiful mug. That I got as a gift, but I got some yarn. So while I was at Eweknit, after interviewing Claudia, I knew that there was some new Hue Loco at Eweknit, and I have never purchased any. I've never tried it. So, I had to. And so this is what I got. I'm going to show you. Yay! It's beautiful. Let me hold it sideways so you can see. Here we go. Oh, I should probably not just be concentrating on showing off my nails. But this is my brand new Hue Loco in the colorway Show Off. And this is the mohair that I'm going to be pairing it with. It is also by Hue Loco, and it's their mohair lace. and it's mohair and silk, 70% mohair, 30% silk. And this is the Merino sock. Oh, it's superwash. All right, so 80/20 superwash merino and nylon. Beautiful. And bring a couple more skeins up here so they can be friends. And I'm very excited because I'm going to make the Lola Pullover that's actually designed by Claudia of Eweknit with this yarn and, you know, the mohair combined with it. So what I think is that the mohair is really going to mellow it out just a little bit, don't you think? So that, you know, those pops of color are still there, but they're a little softer. I'm really excited. I'll throw up a picture of the Lola Pullover, but it's so beautiful. It's very delicate and breezy, just like me. And when I brought this yarn up to check out, it's so funny because Claudia was like, oh yeah, I knew you'd go for the wild yarn. And I was like, what is this? But I guess, you know, if I'm picking out things like this, you know, that little number, to me, this is quite tame. It's quite, you know, under control. But yeah, that is my new purchase from Eweknit. And now, without any further ado, let's get into the interview with Claudia Q. This was such a joy to do, and meeting Claudia was inspiring, and just being able to speak to someone in person was also extremely exciting. So enjoy! We're here! I'm here with Claudia from Eweknit, the staple where we all shop in Toronto for the best yarns, for the most beautiful fabrics.
Thank you.
Yes, embroidery thread for all of these things. So I would just want to welcome you to the podcast.
Oh, thanks for inviting me. I'm very honored.
This is amazing. Honestly, I've been a fangirl of your store for years, and this is an honor to be able to speak to you like this and have you be part of my podcast. So thank you so much.
Oh, thanks you for asking me. I feel really humble. I feel like very honored. Thank you.
Okay, we'll get right into the questions. Opening a crafting store with the scope and supplies Eweknit carries is a huge endeavor. Can you take us a little bit on your journey that led you from starting as a crafter, opening your store, and then becoming a knit designer?
Yeah, I'm going to try to be brief because that's something difficult for me. I started to do crafts since I was a tiny child. I started to crochet at 5. I learned to knit at 11 because I studied with nuns and the nuns taught me how to knit. But that wasn't like a big part of my life. I went to school, I did a master, and then I started a PhD in literature.
Wow.
Here in Canada. But I have a daughter that was really sick, but not really sick. She had a chronic condition, and so she required my attention 24/7. So I have to leave school in order to take care of her, and I was going a little crazy at home. So I started to knit, and then I figured out that knitting was good for me, and that take away a lot of my anxiety. I did have another health problems, and so knitting helped me to be alive, basically. And then the idea of having a knitting store happened in that moment when I was at home with my daughter, and I was like really needing social life, really needing something, you know, that in that moment couldn't be academia anymore for me because a lot of personal reasons, and because academia is very competitive, and I find that is really unhealthy for me.
Right.
I try to compete as less as I can in life. It's very difficult now with the stores. Things have changed, Instagram and all of these things. But I think if it's as much as I can, I try to don't see these things. Then I just live for what I like and what I love, and then I can give my clients what I like to do, my sweaters, and that's what I really want to do.
Yes, that is such a great story, and really, it saves so much of us, right? Knitting has really saved us in a lot of ways. Our mental health, and you start here and you end up here, and part of that journey was knitting on a mental health journey to a better place, right?
Yeah. It's very interesting talking about mental health issues because my grandmother was schizophrenic. And one of the reasons why I ended loving crafts so much is because my aunt and my mom, 3 of them were put in an institution.
Wow.
And when they were in this institution with nuns, they were like made to work, and their work was doing crafts. So they did cross stitch, they did embroidery, they did no knitting because knitting wasn't popular there, but they did a lot of crochet. And so when I met my aunts and my mom, when I grew up with them, these crafts was always part of their life. And the funny thing is that even my schizophrenic grandmother, who's still alive there, she embroidered a lot.
Wow.
Like she made all of these clothes embroidered, and she made wonderful things. So it's kind of a connection between all of this, I think. I don't know.
Between your family members.
Yeah.
And you were speaking to me about the connection that you have with the community. So what does it mean to you to own UNIT and have this community?
Very important to me. Like, as an immigrant, I don't think I exist as Canadian before I have the store. The store gave me like a link with people here. Before I used to walk in the street and I was like, nobody say hello to me. I was like non-existent. Like, oh, that's the way I feel. But now I go to charters, I go to Fiesta Farm, and people go, bye Claudia, hi Claudia. Or something amazing that happened to me is that I've been sick lately, and yesterday I went to the doctor, and the doctor said to me, oh, you're Claudia from Knit? Because she could see my email there. And he said, my mom loves your store. She's a big fan of you. She would be very upset if you have to close the store, she said. I was like, oh my God, this is so good.
We're all with your doctor's wife. We're all with her. We're all big fans.
No, it was his mother.
Oh, his mother.
His mother. But another thing very funny happened to me. I went to Margaret Hospital to get my records. This was like a few years ago. And I don't have an ID. I forgot my ID. I didn't know that for your records, you need an ID. And it makes sense, no? But I'm there and they say, wow, we cannot give you your records because we don't have an ID. We don't know if you is you. And somebody in the background screamed, I know her. I bound for her. She's from Knit. And they're giving my records in Margaret Hospital in the basement there. And I was like, oh my God. Now I'm like,
you're like, I've really arrived.
I'm from here. And that feeling that you're from here is something that is precious. I mean, I think for immigrant people to have a business is somehow insert you in the community, and I think that is very good, very important.
And what a business it is as well.
Oh, it's beautiful.
It is beautiful and so renowned throughout Toronto. It's like, you know what? I cannot meet a single knitter or crocheter or sewist who does not know UNIT. Everyone has heard of it and everyone understands it's a beautiful store where you can get anything you need.
For the good and for the bad. We have our moments. I must say the pandemic was like really hard. And be back to have the good customer service is getting there, but it's been very slow.
Oh, I feel like for everyone, it's a rocky road back in. Trust me, for us teaching high school as well, it really has been.
I can imagine teaching high school.
My goodness. Well, no, it's all good times for me. I really enjoy it. And actually, we just started a knitting and crocheting club. Yep,
that's good.
Yeah, I taught about 5 kids to knit today.
You know what you can do for children or for teenagers or for for anybody when you teach them how to knit, you don't know how it's going to accompany them through life.
Yeah.
Because for me, I never imagined that knitting was going to be my life. I mean, I live out of knitting. Like, the store is my business. I live for it. Like, knitting for me is not just a business. It's not unique. Knitting for me is more the creation of something that I like. And so when you're giving somebody the gift of learning to knit, I think you're giving them something that can be saving them in the future.
Yes. So important. So beautiful. And just hearing that beautiful connection that you have to your family through fiber crafts, it's incredible. I've been shopping at Unit since I learned to knit 8 years ago. Like so long. And I've always been totally blown away by all of the different fibers that you carry. And I'm just wondering, is it that you design something and then you think, what yarns would I like? Or do you see a yarn and you say, wow, I would like to design something for this yarn?
Unit is being built around a lot of confusion. Confusion and love and excitement and a lot of mistakes, okay? So I think I can answer that question now in a more appropriate way because before I opened Unit, I was a knitter because I always knit, but after things have started to change. So the first time that we acquired an inventory was an inventory of I like this, I like that, but nothing was exactly what I really like for me. Now you need at least 60 or 70% of you need is what I could knit. So still some things there that I wouldn't need, but I probably would need everything, but I have preferences. And yes, the store now is working more and more to things that I personally like, and I hold on the clients like, and if they don't like it, I mean, there's a lot of beauty for another stores on top. I mean, and it's true. I mean, it's something for all of us. It's some things that I would never use. I would never. I attend. But I would never sell acrylics. I trying to get rid of brands, and I'm not convinced that the way people were treated was fine, like was okay. Like I trying to get away a lot from super big brands that they're being produced in China, that they don't tell us, and they look like they were done somewhere else, but they really weren't done where they're supposed to. Like, it's this, I don't know, you probably all of you know, but I'm going to say it because it's becoming really important to me. Some companies buy yarn and the animals get killed in a take from Australia alive in the boats, you probably know, to China, and the animals get fully mistreated on the way to China. Then they sell the meat to us, and then they sell us the wool. But the way that they do this thing to these animals is really
it's not ethically produced, right?
It's terrible. And I think about soul, bad karma. I mean, you can call me cheesy, but I just more and more I want to be separated from that. Another thing that's one thing that is important. Another thing that is important is that I like yarns and they're really more natural. I'm in love with hair still daylights. Yes. I have two designs with that I really like. Midori, it's called Midori in the name of one of my best friends from Japan. And another design that I really like that I did for Lane Magazine, that is called Lily, Water Lily, I think, I forget everything.
Water Lily, yes.
So I did it with that yarn because I think it's ethical, I think it's beautiful, I think the yarn speaks to me, like have a very nice smell, and the color is like magical. It's just the yarn that you want to have in your hands and you want to put in the body of people who you like. So yeah, another thing is that I'm in a big love relationship with mohair, and I've been in love relationship with mohair for 9 years. It's embarrassing. So if you go to Unit, you're gonna find that we have a lot of fingering and a lot of mohair because that is my favorite combo. Why is my favorite combo? Because mohair doesn't like to make that balls than yarn make here. Yes. So it lasts longer, and somehow it's like a fairy tale. It's like this little halo there that is magical to me, and I'm allergic to it. It bothered me a lot to knit with some of them, especially the ones that the more mohairy, the more I feel like my tongue like a little tingling, but I just cannot stop from that. So we have a lot of fingering and a lot of mohair because I like that DK 22 stitches 4 inches yarn because I think it's the best for sweaters, the best for hats. I just like that way. So just one thing more. Sorry.
Yes, we love it.
One thing that in the store I try to do a lot is to find colors that they're like really maybe muted for some of you guys. I don't expect everybody to like it, but you can do some of the patterns when you need them. They're for free and something more fun for you. I tend to find colors that are really forever likable, because I think you need something for somebody. Make it in a color that the person is gonna be seeing it and remember you if you're not around anymore and say, oh, my mom made me this gray sweater and I still wearing it. So I go for the classic colors more, and I think you have to go by what you like and what you feel good with it.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that's so much.
Not too much.
No, that's amazing. It's amazing insight into what you think about when you are choosing a fiber, either to design with or to carry in the store. And I think that's really interesting to me as well. And I do the same thing. If I'm going to knit it for a friend, I will definitely knit it in something that's classic. For my daughter, I will knit it in bright pink. But that's different. Great. So do you have anything in the works that you're working on right now that you're excited about, that you'd like to tell us about?
I'm working in a lot of things, and that's one of my problems. I cannot focus just on one thing because I have ideas coming out of my ears sometimes, and so I usually work in 25 projects at the same time. Some of them you're never gonna see because I'm never gonna finish them. Because when I make something, I don't tend to do like swatches.
Okay.
I don't tend
either.
Going there.
Yeah. If you don't like it, you can pull it back out and make it again. That's what I do.
Even better, if it's too small, you can give it to your 7-year-old daughter.
There we go.
If it doesn't fit me, can go to Eweknit. It's like, and if this was supposed to be small, now can be perhaps a medium. I mean, everything has a solution there. I think knitting, even if you don't make anything, never was a waste of time. Because the time you invested doing it is a time that give you something, give you a piece, give you like, I don't know, a moment that you didn't think about anything else. And it's moments in my life that I'm thinking, it's nothing else that I want to be doing.
Yes, me too.
I don't want to be doing anything else. It's made me happy. But anyway, sorry, you asked me a question and I didn't say what else.
So what's coming up? What's in the pipeline? What's in the works?
Okay, I'm working in a book that has been taking me 2 years. It's a very important book for me because I started this book when the pandemic started. And when the pandemic started, we have to close the store. And I have 3 people died in my family.
Oh my goodness.
So it was very difficult. It was a very difficult year. Like, personally, it was like really difficult to deal with it because I couldn't go there because they just closed the airport.
Yes.
So and that was like April, the month that everything was closed in Canada. So, and I thought I have to do something. I have to do something that keep me from going crazy. And I love children stuff. I think the first craft that I ever remember make consciously was like a little girl dress.
Yes.
I took out the curtains in my room and I made a dress. And what a dress, was horrible. It was like ribbons everywhere. And anyways, I probably was 11 or something. But anyway, so children things, there's something that I really like. There's more to do. The client never complained because he wear it. And another thing, they always look beautiful. So I'm working in a book and it's going to be ready. Well, it's ready now, and it's going to be ready next year. And it's there. So
it'll be published next year.
It's going to be published next year. Everything in the book is going to be handmade. My aunts have helped me. My friend Midori have helped me. So it's going to be like a very beautiful craft book. It's going to be published by Lane Magazine.
Wow.
And so I'm very excited. I've worked 2 years straight on it, and a lot of people have helped me, like a group of people they are fantastic, have been helping me, and it's going to be beautiful. I mean, it's really beautiful because it's not just me doing it. It's like this group of women who know a lot about craft doing it with eyes. So I'm very, very excited about it.
Well, I feel like writing a book is kind of like raising a child. It takes a whole village, right?
Oh, yeah, it is. I'm amazed when we go and publish a book and just put our name, and I think in this book probably should be 20 names there, because there were the people doing the editing, the people doing the photos, the people. I mean, it's so much work that it's like just impossible to do everything in your own. And another thing, sorry,
no.
and I think there should be always honor is the people where we took stitches from. These stitch dictionaries that we've been using, these women who actually produce a lot of the stitches that we use. I mean, sometimes we go and make up one here and there, but a lot of stuff that we use is being already made. And I think the people who made them, they should be part of these books. They should be honored somehow. It's not just a book that came out of Claudia. It didn't come out of Claudia. It came out of all of these experiences and all of these like beautiful women that from hundreds of years been collecting this knowledge and just passing it to us, no? So I think we should start to do bibliography and
for sure. And also, just giving that credit to those people that have added so much to our craft that we love now and brought it to the place that it is now, right? Yes. Well, I'd like to thank you so much for joining me for the interview, and I'm going to...
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks to you. Did I talk too much?
No, you talked just right.
No, I talk like a lot.
And I'm going to take my camera and do a little tour of Unit on my own, and I'll show off some of the great yarns that you've got in there right now. And I am going to show some photos of your designs.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thanks for doing this. It's very nice.
Yeah, well, it's always kind of thrilling to speak to one of the masterminds behind the Toronto Fibre scene, and you are a designer.
You're honoring me. I think that is too. There's so many good people in Toronto.
But you're a tastemaker in Toronto. You know, the yarns you choose, the sweaters you design, and wraps, and all of these things. Like, they are a very high taste level, I think.
Oh, thank you. Oh my God, thank you. You humbled me. Thank you.
I'm a fan. We are all fans, and thank you so much one more time.
Thanks to you.
I'd just like to say thank you for joining me for this kind of holiday edition of the Frankenfrog Fibre podcast, and for coming back if you came back, and for joining me if you're new. And I hope you have a super cozy holiday season. Hygge. Wait, I don't know if I said that right, but Hygge. All right, bye.
Merry Yarnmas and a happy yarn year. Taste delicious.